So the objective of this tutorial series is to explain list comprehension in the simplest and easiest way possible for you. List comprehension is a very important topic in Python, and you can actually learn it from the basic level to the professional level. And this is exactly what I'm going to do in this tutorial series, and this video has been broken down into chunks of 5 minutes or less. So let's get started right now from the first part, Introduction to List Comprehension. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to first write a list, and I iterate this list using a normal for loop, and I'm going to do the same thing using list comprehension. So let's assume we have a list x is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we want an operation that's going to return the squares of this list. Okay? So what it means is, assuming I'm going to write it as a for loop, I'm going to say squares is equal to an empty list, and then I'm going to use a for loop to iterate this list for element or for a in x. Alright, and I'm going to say square is equal to a times a, and I simply will append this value to the squares array. Append, and at this point, if I print out this list, I'll have the squares of the numbers in the first array. Okay, so this is a basic for loop I've written here, and you can see that it gave us 1, 4, 9, 16, and 25, which is a second list equivalent to the squares of the first list. And what you want to know is that list comprehension produces a second list that normally you produce by using a for loop or while loop or any other loop. Let's now write this using list comprehension. So I'm going to comment this out and do the same thing using list comprehension. So to do it using list comprehension, I'm going to simply use one line to say squares. Actually, this one will be deleted, will be commented out as well. I'm going to say squares is equal to, and the last thing I want to let you know is that in list comprehension, you'll always use the square bracket. So everything you are going to be writing is going to be right inside the square bracket. So we are going to say x times x, that's the operation we want to perform, a times a in the original list, a times a for a in x. So this is basically how it works. So if I clear my console and print out this, you see that it gave us the same thing. So take note of how it was. We are performing an operation here, and then we're also having each of the elements here, and then we have the list here. So I'm going to simply write the format for list comprehension for you. So it goes something like this: expression. So this is basically the syntax for list comprehension right here. So I'm going to just comment this so that I don't. Okay, so let's do something else so that it becomes a bit clearer as we go. So let's assume this case now, we want to perform a different operation. We want to have a list of items. Let's say name is equal to, and it could be many other names, it could be many other items in this list. And now I want to convert every item on this list to uppercase and return a new list. We can also use list comprehension. In this case, the expression we are going to be using here is a function upper in Python. So what this means is we're going to have name2 is the second list. Now is going to be, I told you have to use a square bracket. The expression is upper. So we have a.upper for a in name, and this exactly will give us a new list with the uppercase of all the elements in the list. So if I print it out now, you'll see that it will give us the uppercase of the original list. So if I run, you can see that it gives us ki. Let's say you have a list like this that have spaces in the words. Let's say we have, so assuming you have a list like this, name is equal to Clinton the Genius, and you have all the spaces right here. You can also use list comprehension to generate this list and then remove all the spaces. In this case, you are going to simply use strip, the strip function, instead of the upper function. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to say name2 is equal to, in this case, I'm going to say a.strip. So strip function removes white spaces from a word for a in name. So in this case, we have a new list with the same items, but the spaces on the list have been stripped off. So if I go ahead to print out this name2, we can have the list now, but this time with all the spaces stripped off, and you can see it right here. Okay, before I close out this section, I'm going to show you something you need to know, very, very important, and that is something called split. Let's say we have this sentence that says, please subscribe to my channel, and we want to return this sentence as a list of words. Actually, this is not list comprehension, but something you need to know. So we use the split. So I'm going to say a sentence, or let me just call it words. Words is equal to sentence dot split, and split it by space, right? So the spaces is going to be the basis for the splitting. So I'm going to simply say split it by space. At this point, if I print out the words, I'm going to now have the same items, but in this case is a list of the words in this sentence. So I'm going to just print, and you can have that we have a list of words from the original sentence. Okay, so I'm going to kind of stop here for now, take some time to play around, and in the next part we are going to continue with conditional list comprehension. I'd like to thank you for viewing. Please subscribe to my channel if this has been informative for you.